Okay, so this is where we approximately left off with last time. Okay, so one of the things that we see, okay, if you wish to follow along, find your handout, and we will continue with that. Okay. Later. Let's get this done first. Okay? Now, so as stated, this is about where we left off with last. It might have been here.
No, it's not. No, it was, you were right.
Okay. All right, so one of the things that happens is which one of these provides greater variance? In other words, which one would be better for plants to reproduce? In other words, introduces more new traits to a population. Cross-pollination or self-pollination? Cross, definitely. And that's why Mendel did that. And one of the things that happens when we discuss this with apple trees, okay, a lot of the same breeds of apple trees, once if they become, perhaps get a disease in one tree, it'll take out the entire grove, okay? Trees are sometimes just a little different with this as opposed to flowers. So with cross-pollination, okay, you are dealing with two different plants. That increases the genetic variance then. And that is why when the springtime rolls around, that's when you see maybe different types of farmers who are in this business will sell purebred bulls for this. Just because, since they're in that business, that will give them more genetic variance. And that's why you want to replace them from time to time. Okay? And then moving forward, you're not, okay. All right. And that's another thing that we will discuss in the spring is that they'll do what's called grafting. And what that means is that's a type of cross-pollination.
You're not slick, bro. I won't be sitting down and saying, give me my spoon back. Yeah, you should give me mine, too.
I give up already.
Okay, let's
It was Michonne.
okay, so moving forward then. And a lot of this we have read over. And can you think of an example besides these two? Okay? Because I honestly can't really think of anything. I suppose you could look at anything from flowers to chickens.
That's not ready. It's actually allergens.
So when it comes to tracking generations, have you ever heard of, I believe it's called 23andMe. That's the actual company, I believe that it's called. You can trace family histories with this genetics company called 23andMe. So what that means then, if this generation is your grandma and grandpa, the parental generation, okay? Who would this be referring to? F means filial. That's what it's. I suppose it's a Latin term, maybe. But who would the F1 generation be then? If the P generation is your grandparents, who is the first generation from there? Your parents then. Okay? So that would be the first or filial 1 generation. Then what happens when we see the F2 generation. Who would the F2 be?
Grandparents.
No, now you're going the wrong way.
Oh, me.
That would be yourself. That's right. So it's a way of tracking your own family history with the different generations. Does everyone have this content that wants it?
No.
Okay? So keep in mind, we have a paper here for you to start on. You have some vocabulary that is due on on Wednesday, and you probably have it all done. One less thing to have to worry about then if you have it done. Okay? Can we move on?
Yeah.
Okay? But not that fast. So then, when we had said, who is the F2, you said me, because that would be correct. Now, when it comes to tracking these across generations, even though this says parent, it's not your parents. It's your parents' parents or grandparents, okay? And the reason that we use this terminology is maybe easier for you to keep track of. That's why we talk about it in that manner. So we had these traits wrote down over here. So someone give me an example of a trait that we have studied. Okay, so height is a trait. Then when you say tall and short, which one is the dominant one? That would be the tall. So if you see capital T, chances are that offspring is going to be tall. The only way that it can be short is if you have two recessive traits, because that dominant factor, as you can see, will mask over it. Even if you have that short trait in there, what does it mean if you have one of each allele in a trait? Something you know, you just don't know you know. It's not homozygous, but rather what? Heterozygous. That's right. Now, one of the things keep in mind, tomorrow we're going to start talking about codominance. That's where this concept of masking over, you would have to be told that that's what that means. And that happens in cattle all the time. Okay? So we'll be talking about that tomorrow, but let's keep on going here. So we have this one, and then one more. So I just want to make sure that we understand this. What's the only way that you could see a green pea plant or a short plant? If both alleles are what? Yeah, if they're the same, okay? Two little Y's or two little G's, okay? Because if you have that dominant trait in there, it's going to mask that over. So that's why when we talk about recessive traits, they both have to be present. Okay? And I think there's just one more. Let me know when we can wrap this up. Oh, you're out of room? Okay. Well then, really this is all that's left. So we have been using this, so you really don't need to write this down because we've been applying this. A genotype. We've talked about that. We've talked about the phenotype. It's what you're going to actually observe. Okay? Homozygous. That means, does it have to be both capitals or both lowercase or neither? You can have two capitals, you can have two lowercase, so it's both. Okay? If it's going to be homozygous, heterozygous means one of each. Okay. So now we're going to start your problem solving papers. We've started that. So I want to give you some time to work on those because as we know, those dihybrid crosses take a long time. Does everyone have this, well, that we've discussed this here? All right. We want to try to make sense of something like this. If you write it down, fine. If not, just follow along. That's fine too. Okay, because there was a problem, a dihybrid cross, okay? There was a dihybrid cross that we started on Friday. We'll come back to it. Okay. So as we look at this, it says, in mice, brown is dominant over black. What are the genotypical and phenotypical results of a cross between a homozygous brown and black mouse? So when we do these problems, what's the first thing we do? Make a key, right?
Stop talking, Tyron.
It's not just me.
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, you think so? Now it's just me.
So what do we do then? What do we do? So what do we do? You make a key. So how are we going to make this key?
You're cooked. You're cooked. It's basketball season too.
Probably that brown is the dominant trait.
Okay.
You're running down basketball.
So how about we do this? So then that's one allele. What's the other one?
You're looking at start JV.
Okay. So there's our key. This is a monohybrid cross. Okay. So then the cross is a homozygous brown. What are our two alleles for that? What are our two alleles for that? Alleles is a letter.
What is it?
Okay, so we hear uppercase B. It's homozygous brown. So that means the two alleles, are they the same or different? Okay, they're the same, two capital B's. And then what's the only combination that we could have for a black mouse? Would this be a black mouse? It's got the recessive trait. It has to be two lowercase b's. Okay? Because this gets masked over by the other trait. So now we just go ahead and do our cross and our Punnett square. What two letters do we put on the left side? Well, I know they're all B's. Okay? So capital B and lowercase? Okay. What goes across the top then? Same thing. Do we see this type of genetic combination? The answer is no. This is wrong. This would be 100% wrong. Because what two letters would we put on the left side? but we also heard a lowercase b. Okay? What goes across the top now? Both lowercase b's. Okay? So what goes inside our boxes now?
Capital B, lowercase b.
So are all these, is this going to be 100% cross? That's all going to be the same?
Yep.
That's right.
Back to the matter.
Okay? So what is one genetic makeup that we see? Just pick out one box.
Capital B, lowercase.
Okay, so we see capital B, lowercase b. And how many of them do we see? We see 4 of them. That's right. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that took care of all of them. Now, what is the phenotype? You can actually see this now. You need to get rolling. You need to get rolling.
For the genotype, you just write 4.
Wasn't it 305?
Oh, 3.
Okay. I'm not going to argue. You're the one that knows. Okay. So then, what are the observable characteristics we see? That we did that already. That's our genetic makeup. So what would the outward appearance be? They're going to be black or brown? They're going to be brown. So we have 4 brown. Okay. This would be an example of a purebred cross because you have 2 of the same. So what happens if you cross this again? Do you get the same results? No, you don't.
Oh, okay.
So pick a box out.
Left or top left.
Top left. So big B, little b. So we took this one. Pick another box.
Bottom right.
Bottom right. Okay. So sometimes you cross the next generation. Now you're going to see that brown color disappear. Okay. How do we know? Well, let's set that up in our cross here.
Sorry. Fellas. You have fun at basketball.
Okay. So what goes inside this box?
Come way? Never heard of a come way.
What goes inside this box?
Capital B. Capital B.
Because we crossed these 2. Okay? Then what about this one? This one? And then this one. So that's what we mean. That trait did not disappear. It reappeared again. Okay. We're not communicating. Front row, any questions? Front row. We on the bus over here? So that means no? Okay. Second row? Okay. Okay. Back row?
I know.
All right. So why do you want to do one together then? Well, we can certainly try. No? Okay. Pick one. No, because we haven't gotten that far yet. One on the front side.
4.
Number 4. Okay. It says, for seed shape in peas, round is down. We just did this one, really. Well, okay, so what do we want to do? This one or something else? Number 2. Okay. In mice, brown hair is dominant over black. What are the results of a crossing of a homozygous recessive mouse with a heterozygous mouse? Display the genotypic and phenotypical ratios. Okay? So we have our key.
No, don't leave me.
Okay?
Where you going, fellas?
So what is a homozygous recessive mouse? What are your 2 alleles? That's what you see, but that's not the genotype. It says, what are your two alleles? Those are the letters that make up your trait. Two lowercase? Okay. Two lowercase letters. That would give you a black colored mouse. They both have to be lowercase. Then, what is a heterozygous coat color? That's right.
Yeah, you cooked.
Okay. So let's go ahead and do our cross. So since this is on the left side, we just do this and this. Then capital B, lowercase b. So it goes inside this box. That's right. What about this one? Okay.
Mr. McKinney, how do you know that the capital B and a lowercase? Because if you did two capital B, you get the same thing.
Okay. So now we just continue with this. Okay. So what is your genetic makeup in this cross then?
Then you have two lowercase.
Okay, so pick out a box. This one. Okay, so we see this. How many times do we see that in here? Two times. Or if you want to put tally marks like we did, that's fine. Okay? So we did this one and this one. Then we got two left, right? So now we've accounted for this one and this one. Okay? So that takes care of your genotype. Two brown, two black. That's right.
What are you guys doing in school?
Okay? Number one, we got questions. Display the results would occur for flower position if you cross a homozygous axial pea plant with a heterozygous pea plant. Axial is dominant over terminal. Okay?
Menace. You're a bad boy.
Okay. So, what letter do you want to deal with for axial? Okay. So then, if you see any combination with a capital A, it's going to be axial. So, what is the allele for the terminal trait? Lowercase a. Okay. So we have our key.
I think we just need help finding the key and then we can do the rest. It's just hard to find it.
Okay. Okay, homozygous axial. What are your two alleles or letters? Two capital A's. Okay. Then heterozygous pea plant. What are your two letters? And there you go. So it's just like the one we just did. It's just your traits are different.
Yeah, I think it's just the keys that go.
Well, that's why we ask. All right. So we'll keep moving forward. So this is how you set it up. Does that look familiar? They were B's before. Now it's just A's, and your traits are different. So you're going to have that combination and that combination. It's just how many and which one's which. Oh, that's not right. That's what I meant to write. Okay. We have a little bit of time to work on these tomorrow. We will start talking about codominance tomorrow. All right. So that's all I have. We'll catch up to you next time.